Hello and welcome to Freshly Served, the healthy vegan cooking show. I'm Heather and tonight we are making cinnamon lime chickpeas. Now I've got my chickpeas already cooked. You may see them called garbanzo beans as well. Same thing. And you can also get them canned, but they won't come to quite the same soft texture as they will if you buy them dried. Now chickpeas take some advanced planning because you do need to soak them overnight and then cook them. So if you get them going the night before and then cook them in the morning, you'll be ready to go for dinner. So what we're going to start with is heating up the pan back here. And we're going to get some onions and garlic going. So I've got the onions and garlic going on the burner in some olive oil, and I'm chopping up my cauliflower here. If you chop, by the way, from the stem rather than the top, you get neater pieces and it won't fall apart as much. Now cauliflower, because it has very little flavor, very little color, I always assumed that probably didn't have too much nutrients. But that is totally wrong. Cauliflower is the same family as broccoli and kale, and among its many talents, it actually has been shown to help regulate hormones. So if you're feeling a little PMS or menopause, or if you're a guy and you're crying in a lot of movies or something, I don't know, maybe try some cauliflower, see how it goes. Anyway, it's a good part of your diet in general, and it's going to be great in this dish to lighten up the chickpeas. I always like to put some vegetables in a bean dish to help lighten it up and make sure that I don't eat too many beans in one sitting, because that never ends well. And we're going to have some really great flavors in this dish, so it'll help liven up the cauliflower. So those are cooked. I'm going to toss the cauliflower in with that. And what's going to happen here is I'll stir it around, and then I'm going to give the cauliflower probably about more than 5 minutes, but not quite 10 minutes, to just cook a little bit. Probably closer to 5. So that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to let it sit, and I'll see you back in a few minutes. So all I'm looking for here is for the cauliflower to change from like a really bright solid white to starting to look a little bit softer, and they've got that going on now. And I was just thinking when I was looking at my pot that I've cut my cauliflower pretty big here. If you have people in your house who don't like cauliflower, try cutting them up really, really small. They might not even notice. That'd be fun. Okay, so now that I've got this going on, I'm going to throw the chickpeas in here, stir them around with everything else. Then I'm going to add the seasonings, which for this, my main seasoning is going to be cinnamon. And that's why I've put onion and garlic in here, because otherwise it might taste like dessert. So I like to use cinnamon in dinner, but you got to make sure that you use some other spices. So I'm using allspice. Give it a little bit of a punch. And some cumin, because cumin always goes really nicely with chickpeas. And I've put measurements in the recipe. I don't usually measure, I just kind of go by feel. But I definitely am putting more cinnamon than cumin and allspice. If you like cumin, it's really great. You could probably put the same amount of cumin as cinnamon, and then just a little bit less allspice. See how those look like really nice and brown now? Beautiful. Okay. Always sea salt, and I'm going to add enough sea salt for the beans and for the cauliflower. And I'm doing, what I got, 3 pinches there. Very scientific, right? I like to stir the salt in right away so that I can start to work on the beans and the cauliflower. Then what I'm going to do next is get the zest off of this lime I have here. Lime zest, also one of my favorite things to do. Once I get this zested, I'm also going to add the juice of this lime. I'm just stirring the lime zest and the lime juice around in here, and smelling the smells coming up from this dish, I am missing one thing, and I am not a fan of spicy in general, but this dish needs just a touch of cayenne pepper. I'm really cautious with this stuff. Take your head off. So give that a stir, and then these chickpeas will need at least 10 minutes in the pan on heat to let the salt and the flavors go into them. If you eat a chickpea on its own, it doesn't really have much flavor. So let it sit, absorb the lime, absorb the cinnamon, the cumin, the cayenne, and then you'll be ready to go. So I did a little taste test on the chickpea and it was full of flavor. I know they're done when they actually have some flavor in them. I've got this served over some greens because I love to get greens in whenever I can, but this would also be lovely served over rice or some other type of grain if you wish. Enjoy a lovely source of vegan protein in these chickpeas, some cauliflower in there for some extra nutrition, and cinnamon, lime, cumin, cayenne for some delicious flavors. Enjoy.